Tonight, Paris bids au revoir to the Summer Games. One last epic event to wrap up the Olympics. Then a Hollywood-style handover to the next host.
Being flag bearer is definitely something that I'll appreciate and hold close to my heart forever.
Canadian athletes score a record-breaking medal count.
We've had a number of historic firsts.
Lightning strikes, sparking new wildfires in BC.
Yesterday we had 1,541 strikes.
And Jasper evacuees wait for word on returning.
I don't have a home. I have nothing to go back to.
Plus, the fire started by a family pet.
It's a danger that people really hadn't considered so much.
And the lesson learned about leaving battery chargers lying around.
CTV National News with Heather Butts. Reporting tonight, Mirella Fernandez.
Good evening. Over the last 2 weeks, the stunning images of Paris have been the backdrop for the Summer Games. From swimmers in the Seine to beach volleyball at the Eiffel Tower, the French capital became the center of competitive world sports. Tonight, the City of Light has extinguished the Olympic flame, officially ending the Olympics. CTV Geneviève Beauchemin brings us the closing ceremony.
The Games au revoir to Paris played out under now familiar tight security. The opening ceremony, titled Records, took center stage at Stade de France. It was a show of French culture, honoring a country that perhaps at first reluctantly but then fervently fell in love with the Olympics. Organizers noted the City of Love set a record for the most Olympic marriage proposals, including this one.
She said yes. She said yes.
Rower Justin Best asked his longtime girlfriend to marry him shortly after winning gold. The ceremony also included time-honored traditions like the Athletes' Parade, with flag bearers including Canada's leading the way. Phenom Summer McIntosh, just still 17, winner of 3 golds and a silver in the pool, and hammer throw champion Ethan Katzberg.
I think the main thing that's going to take the longest to sink in is being flag bearer, because that is such an honor and once in a lifetime. So yeah, this is definitely something that I'll appreciate and hold close to my heart forever.
Just a day before this closing, IOC President Thomas Bach announced that after 12 years at the helm, these would be his last games. He would make his way, he said, to a new generation more in tune with the digital world.
For this new way of living, I, with my age, I am not the best captain.
The ceremony shifted from France to the U.S. as American actor Tom Cruise dropped into the Stade de France to celebrate the moment and to take the flag to Hollywood in a series of stunts. Paris passing on the baton to the host of the next Summer Games, Los Angeles. Organizers opened up the heart of Paris to the Games and to its visitors, and they say the move paid off. And so now it's the end, la fin, for these Summer Olympics. Mirella.
Geneviève signing off from Paris tonight. Team Canada crushed it in France, winning medals for the first time ever in fencing and breaking, but also upending expectations in hammer throw and women's pole vault. And of course, Summer McIntosh coming home with 4 medals, 3 of them gold. Here's CTV's Campbell Karamali.
Canada made its mark in Paris with an explosion of medals by the end of it all. A couple of photo finishes in the final weekend, Katie Vincent dashing to gold in women's 200-meter canoe sprint, edging out the U.S. by 1/100th of a second.
I think I just had the best race of my life.
While 800-meter sprinter Marco Arop fell short of the gold with that exact margin.
It was so close. I was just happy that I went out there and executed to the best of my abilities.
Canada's final medal came at the Olympics' first ever breaking competition, where Vancouver's Phil Wizard defeated France on the dance floor to win gold.
We are showcasing this for the very first time on the Olympic stage.
A flashy finish, but the way Canada started the Games, far from picture perfect.
We were sitting in a circle in the hotel crying our eyes out.
The women's soccer team embroiled in a controversy after a staff member was caught using a drone to spy on one of its opponents. Through it all, they overcame insurmountable odds to make it to the quarterfinals, eventually losing to Germany.
To look back on what we did under the circumstance, you really can't be anything but proud.
Although soccer stole the spotlight early, Canada's most dominant performance came in the pool, these summer games led by one Summer McIntosh.
I'm very ecstatic with my results here.
The teenager notching a silver on day one, but it would be 3 straight wins that would cement McIntosh in the history books, becoming the first Canadian to win 3 gold medals in one Olympic Games.
The attention is awesome. It just shows how much love and passion we have as a nation.
The men also climbing out of the pool and onto the podium, with Josh Liendo flying across the water to silver, becoming the first Black Canadian swimmer to win an Olympic medal. Canada's swimming success was to be expected. What wasn't, though, was the men's 4x100 relay team winning gold for the first time in nearly 30 years. An upset for the ages after sprinter Andre de Grasse fell short of qualifying in the individual events.
It's a dream come true, man. It's a complete story. So, I mean, definitely it's something that we'll remember for the rest of our lives.
Canada medaled in 15 different sports in Paris, and some came in events that have not been a strength for our country in the past. Hammer throw, a sport usually dominated by European athletes, but Ethan Katzberg with one monstrous throw.
I had a good idea that it was a good throw.
Changing the landscape by landing the gold, followed by a gold-earning toss by Cameron Rogers. Krista Deguchi won the country's first ever gold medal in judo, a triumphant return after being cut from the Tokyo Olympics. Alicia Newman became the first Canadian woman to win a medal in pole vault. Canada's first ever fencing medal, a bronze, captured by Eleanor Harvey.
I know, I have so much more inside of me. I have so much more fire.
Hoping that fire will be carried over to California. 27 medals, the new bar to beat in Los Angeles for the 2028 Summer Games. Kamal Karamali, CTV News, Toronto.
Let's get to the wildfires in the West. An evacuation order for a small BC community has been cancelled. Crews have been able to contain the fire near Valemount. But the unsettled weather in the province could spark new ones. Here's CTV's Christina Tenalia.
Of more than 400 wildfires burning in BC, 89% were caused by lightning strikes.
We've had lightning every day since at least mid-July.
The Canoe Road wildfire flared Saturday when lightning struck private property. Crews quickly contained the spread, ending a short-lived evacuation order.
We have had a really high rate of initial attack success this year.
Terry Lonsbury is in Kamloops, BC, trying to make his way to the city of Parksville. He evacuated his Jasper, Alberta home on July the 23rd. Tomorrow, Parks Canada will announce when residents can return.
I don't have a home. I have nothing to go back to.
This is Lonsbury's new home, except now he's parked.
That's what my plan was to take the rest of the summer to get the truck and trailer ready to go in October. And yeah, the fire changed all that.
Lonsbury says he recently purchased a truck on Kijiji to pull an RV to Vancouver Island, where he was once a volunteer firefighter for a local detachment in Comox. The truck came in handy when he was forced to evacuate, but it broke down halfway along his journey.
Unable to just get on with life.
His truck needs about $20,000 worth of repairs. The fire department has set up a GoFundMe, but donations have been slow.
The nobodies like me, they don't go anywhere.
Hoping the kindness of strangers will prevail for the volunteer firefighter who, this time, was the one forced to escape the flames. On Monday morning, officials will announce plans for when and how Jasper residents can return. About 80% of the fire's northwest perimeter is contained, but officials say as a whole, the fire is still classified as out of control. Morella.
All right, Christina, thanks for that. It is not fire but water being blamed for sinkholes and power outages along the Ontario-Quebec border. The small community of Chelsea still under a state of emergency after a heavy rainfall on Friday. CTV's Natalie Van Roy has an update.
This road on Beach Lake washed away from a major rainfall as the remnants of Hurricane Debby ripped through eastern Ontario and parts of Quebec.
It's very devastating. Of course, our priority right now is public safety, so we're doing everything we can to ensure safety of the public right now, doing any types of emergency reparations as soon as we can.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of damage in Gatineau Park, but the exact amount still being surveyed. Construction crews working around the clock all weekend as roads remain closed.
I can understand why. I've seen a bit of the road damage on the way in, and there's no way they could let cars in and risk an accident.
We had to park. There was like a barrier before or right after P9. We were trying to get up further up the road. We got lost a little bit doing that.
Current was probably concentrated in one location, eroded the material under
Here,
the
a
parkway,
sinkhole where the road gave away on the Champlain Parkway.
Champlain Parkway is closed to everyone. We've unfortunately had to suspend our shuttle service for the weekend and until further notice.
The storm brought a downpour. The nearby city of Gatineau recording a total of 83 millimeters of rain, sweeping away several footbridges. Parking lots, trails, and beaches are still closed due to the damage. As the cleanup continues, the state of emergency in Chelsea expected to end by Monday morning. Natalie Van Roy, CTV News.
In another part of Quebec, the body of a man in his 80s has been found. He was swept away by a river Friday night. Across the province, around 3,400 customers are still without power. Debby dumped more than 140 millimeters of rain on Montreal. The Ukrainian president is admitting today that his forces are operating inside of Russia. It is the first time the Ukrainian military has carried out this kind of cross-border raid that seemed to catch Moscow off guard. CTV's Colton Priel reports.
Russia is promising a tough response to what it calls a massive missile attack overnight. Officials say at least 13 people were injured when pieces of a downed Ukrainian rocket hit this apartment building in Kursk. After days of a rumored incursion in the border region, this weekend Volodymyr Zelensky acknowledging his forces are roughly 30 kilometers inside of Russia. Ukraine is proving it can put pressure on the aggressor, Zelensky said in his nightly address. It's the deepest advance into Russian territory since the start of the war.
This is limited from a tactical perspective. It will not pull troops away from the Eastern Front. It is a political gesture more than it is anything else.
It comes amid calls for more support from Western allies.
Putin would not have gone into Ukraine.
As the shadow of a U.S. election and a potential Trump presidency loom.
I think a lot of this is also perhaps trying to capture Russian soldiers that can be used in a future trade, and perhaps also trying to capture and retain territory that Ukraine might be able to trade should there be negotiations begin.
Today, Russia releasing alleged video of their defense, deemed a counter-terrorism operation. Killing 2 in an overnight strike near Kyiv that Ukraine says used North Korean ballistic missiles. New video and satellite imagery appears to show defenses being dug outside one of Russia's biggest nuclear power plants near Kursk. The International Atomic Energy Agency is warning both sides to avoid a nuclear incident. Morella.
CTV's Colton Priel in Ottawa. Israel's military is ordering more evacuations in southern Gaza after the deadly airstrike in northern Gaza that hit a school being used as a shelter. Gaza's Civil Emergency Service says about 100 people were killed by the strike. Israel is disputing the number. The latest evacuation orders are for the Khan Yunis area, which is close to Rafah. All of the remains of passengers and crew have now been removed from the plane that crashed in Brazil on Friday. 62 people died when the plane came down vertically and crashed into a gated community. The bodies of 12 victims have been identified so far. Relatives have been bringing DNA samples to officials in Sao Paulo to help identify others. A collapse at a landfill has claimed 18 lives in Uganda. 2 children here among the dead. Authorities say a downpour may have triggered the incident. Uganda's president has ordered an investigation. Coming up, Costco cracking down on moochers.
They're at the point now where getting, in this economy, every dollar counts, every nickel counts.
The retail giant reining in membership sharing. Plus, the connection created by a patch of clover. Canadians who shop at Costco will soon have to scan membership cards to get into the stores. Most shoppers are used to just flashing them at employees. The new measure likely aimed at clamping down on card sharing. CTV Sarah Plowman reports.
At Costco, shoppers usually flash their membership cards to an employee when they walk in. But soon they may have to scan those cards at the door in a move to keep moochers out.
Does that bother you?
No, it doesn't bother me.
They shouldn't have to do that.
I feel like it might take away some of the personability, the personal touch of Costco.
On its website, Costco says over the coming months, membership scanning devices will be used at the entrance door of your local warehouse. A change some stores, like this one in Ottawa, have already sampled.
You have to scan your membership and your picture comes up to ensure that it's the right person coming in.
CTV News reached out to Costco Canada, who did not confirm whether this will roll out at all stores across the country, but said some warehouses are already doing it, saying it's to prevent long waits at the cash register. Top executives in the U.S. previously acknowledged more people have been sharing memberships since 2020. Netflix and Disney Plus cracked down on password sharing. Now this.
So everyone is trying to sort of tighten things up. They're at the point now where getting, in this economy, every dollar counts, every nickel counts.
Annual membership fees make up the bulk of Costco's profits and keep prices down. Next month, the business will up those fees, the first time in 7 years. Well, the scanners could keep non-members' business away.
But they could also gain some of those people. Some of those people who borrow someone else's membership may say, okay, I get it, I've been caught, now I'm going to buy my own memberships.
A strategy the business might just be banking on. Sarah Plowman, CTV News, Halifax.
Still ahead, sounding the alarm about rechargeable battery packs. The new warning sparked by a fire and a family pet. There is another warning tonight about rechargeable battery packs. They can overheat, even explode, and one did in Oklahoma after the family pet got hold of it. CTV's Rachel Crow spreading wings with the footage of the fire started by a dog.
One family in Oklahoma almost lost their home after their dog accidentally started a fire. This video has been released by the Tulsa Fire Department, showing a dog chewing on a lithium-ion phone charging bank, which explodes, setting a mattress on fire.
It was one of those portable battery chargers, basically, that many people have to use for their cell phones or their gaming devices. And really, we find these batteries in many electronics today. So it's a danger that people really hadn't considered so much.
2 dogs and a cat then scrambled to escape through a dog door unhurt.
In spite of the fact that they had a house fire and that did significant damage to their home, the homeowners were just thankful that their dogs are okay and that they were able to get out safely.
While the fire did cause a lot of damage, the home and everyone was safe.
The homeowner had an alarm, and when that alarm system went off, it alerted firefighters. So we were able to get there quickly.
One Canadian fire chief says battery fires happen far too often.
We're absolutely seeing an increase of fires and incidents pertaining to lithium-ion batteries.
He says many don't follow manufacturers' recommendations.
So we see that people are storing them inappropriately. They're charging them and leaving them to be charged for times after they're required to be charged.
He adds not all cords are compatible with your device, which can make them hot or even catch fire.
Often it's because you're not using the right cord for the device that it's required to do. And even between friends and even between devices, we'll often share cords. And I know it sounds a little elementary, but the fact of the matter is they're not all. Just because it fits into your device does not mean that it's the same capabilities of your device.
And of course, make sure batteries are put away safely. Rachel Crow, Spreading Wings, CTV News.
After the break, more than just luck. The meaning a BC woman found in a patch of four-leaf clovers. We leave you tonight with a story about grieving. A BC woman who lost her mother found something in her own backyard that helped her heal. It was a four-leaf clover that didn't represent luck as much as it did connection. CTV's Adam Sawatsky explains.
Julie Barr will never forget that day. She was working in her backyard and found her first four-leaf clover.
This is great. And then I found another one. And there's another one.
A surprising discovery, seeing as Julie hadn't felt lucky in a long time.
It was devastating. It was hard.
Julie's mom, Carolyn, had spent 5 years succumbing to ALS.
And it got to the point where she could only move her head and used an eye recognition computer to communicate with us.
Although Carolyn strived to be positive, posing for her granddaughter's photo filters and promising Julie she'd find a way to keep communicating after her death, the inevitable was horrible.
It's like this empty void and something is missing.
Until that day, Julie kept finding those four-leaf clovers.
I'm like, okay, I'm going to start mowing around this clover patch. We'll see what happens.
As the circle expanded, the discovery of four-leaf clovers increased.
I have now found 313 plus four-leaf clovers that I've pressed in books.
After filling dozens of pages with hundreds of four-leaf clovers from that one plant in her backyard, Julie is feeling like this is much more than luck.
I know it's her. I know it's from her.
Not only did her mom always carry around this keychain featuring a four-leaf clover, Julie found a similar patch growing on her mom's grave after her celebration of life.
It's a sign from the heavens.
Which is why Julie vowed to keep mowing around the plant and placed a pair of chairs in her mom's favorite color beside it.
I like to think she's sitting there in the other chair beside me, and we're looking for clovers together.
Well, some say luck is what you make it. Julie has found that if we keep our eyes open to the positive possibilities that surround us, grieving and eventually healing is too. Adam Sawatsky, CTV News, Langford.
That's a wrap on the day. Thanks for sharing your time with us tonight. We leave you with a look at the fireworks from the closing ceremony of the Olympics in Paris. Good night.